Diggs Nation. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Peanut Butter Magic podcast, where we talk about everything entertainment from a DIY's point of view. I'm your host tonight. My name is Boss 10. What's up, Sway? How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Wonderful. What's up, Mike?
What's up, man?
It's the Peanut Butter Magic Show. It's the Peanut Butter Magic Show.
How's everything going in Colombia? Surviving the weather.
Yeah. Wet out this joint.
Exactly.
How's things in Kentucky, man? Is it wet out there?
Oh, it's too wet.
Yeah. I'm gonna tell you, man. Yesterday, my youngest daughter got off the bus, man, and I'm watching for her as she's coming home. I'm watching for her, and she's walking in the grass, and it's like a monsoon, man. Just ruined her little sneakers, man. I was so infuriated, and I just watched her do that. I was upstairs, so I couldn't even get downstairs in time to be like, "Get out of there!" So I was just like, "Yo, oh, it was horrible."
Yeah.
But yeah, that.
We have some friends in New Orleans. Amiko went to college there, so she still is close to some of her friends. And unfortunately, we went a couple days without being able to get in contact with anybody.
Oh my.
Yeah, she finally heard from the last one today, so everybody's okay.
Okay,
But
good.
That's what's up.
power lines down, service towers down, electricity down. They're hearing it's going to be a couple weeks till their neighborhoods get power again. So
Yeah.
unfortunately,
Thank God it's not cold out.
right.
You know what I mean?
But you do know it's a solar storm going on as well, don't you?
A solo storm,
A solar.
a solar storm.
Yes.
What is a solar storm?
The sun, when it spurts out extra, stuff. Yeah. It
Sun
affects.
juice.
Yeah, basically. It affects, it sends out a lot of radiation and stuff, different things like that. And a lot of times it affects your phones, any, electronics and stuff. So if you notice you're having extra phone issues and stuff like that, electronic issues, that's probably why.
Maybe it'll
Come
hit
on,
my
son.
stocks.
Huh? Right. Make it go up.
Jeez.
Yeah,
Can't Verizon develop like an anti-solar storm thing?
Oh, right. I don't know. I
Yeah,
don't have Verizon.
AT&T. Like the
I'm
sun's
sure
out
that-
spitting today. Phone's not gonna work.
Well, I know Sprint don't, so that's why I'm saying sayonara. I'm out. I'm
Man.
done with Sprint, man. I'm done with them.
Well, speaking of being done,
Nice segue.
right. I want to talk to you guys tonight about when to quit and when to change.
Okay.
Been doing a lot of reflecting. I know I've talked to you guys about that on the show over the last several months this year, and been doing short films for several years. I've got several under my belt, several that are going to be coming out sometime this fall. Working on a release schedule now. A lot of my friends that are in this business, whenever I shoot short films, they're like, "Why are you still shooting short films?" I'm like, if I don't have the work that I'm looking for, it's a good practice. It gives me a way to get some of these stories out, pull scenes from larger projects and put them on film or digital anyways, and just kind of see what it would look like and have something to pitch to hopefully an investor. But that was my perspective. And I've always heard from people that don't do short films anymore. They're like, "Stop doing it. You're wasting your time." And now that I've reached to that point where I've got a collection of these films and I'm like, can't do anything with these. So I'm in the process of wrapping up that short film side of things and moving into a more sellable product. And so I wanted to kind of throw some ideas back and forth with you guys. And I know you guys are both in the business as well, making music, and you go through the process, you make an album. At the end of the day, you've got that album finished and either works or it doesn't. And you take that experience and change or quit. I know most of the people that are like us quit. And the reason why we keep working is because we don't quit, we just change. So I thought today'd be a good day to kind of talk about that.
All right. Sounds good.
So, Mike, I know that I'm gonna call you out a little bit because I know we've brought up this album that we're hoping Quasi is gonna drop in a year. And so I just want to talk about your experiences, man, and find out, because I know you've got your history with recording and releasing, and then you've kind of switched it up, went from rocking with a few guys to now you're in that process of doing it by yourself. So I want to see if you kind of give us some insight on where that change came from and why.
Well, the change came from force, It basically was force change, because you can only like push other people so much to try to motivate them to do more. And I mean, everybody's going to be their own person. And so when it gets to the point to where you try to push and, it's time to step away and just do what you love to do. I love to do it. That's why I'm probably the only one still doing it from my little, deal. But
that's one of the things I was going to ask you is if the guys that you used to rock with, are they still on the mic? Did they give it up? They got jobs?
Who knows? I doubt it, but who knows? I mean, I really don't know. I really hate to say, they're blowing up. I mean, I doubt it seriously, but nah, I only keep up. You know what I'm saying? I only keep up with me. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's times, man. You feel like giving up. You feel like, I'm sick. But if you love something, you don't never give up. You know what I'm saying? Right. You might change the way you do things. It might not be as it was in the beginning. You had to drive, you had, the people, and you had all that. But now it's more so I can take my time. I can do it, whatever I want to do, create whatever I want to create, and, just take my time with it. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm going to love my own work no matter what. So, that's all I can say about it.
All right. So, so Sway, I'm going to ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
I already know the answer to this question, but I want you to elaborate a little bit. What's it going to take for you to finally put that microphone down?
Death.
Right.
There you go.
Yeah.
No, I don't think I ever will. Well, I've been doing this now over 30 years.
Right.
So, in that time period, I've had to transition quite a bit. I haven't always been just a singer or just a rapper or just a producer or just a writer or just one thing. I've been able to span across many different areas of the game. So you talk about change, and one thing about change is that lifetime brings about change. Nothing ever stays the same.
Yeah.
And with quitting versus change, sometimes you have to quit in order to change.
Right.
You know what I mean? That doesn't mean like say for example, people ask me all the time, you gonna put out a record? And I'm like, yo, if a record needs to happen, I'll put one out.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But as long as I have something to promote, a lot of times I don't feel like a record is always necessary. Like right now, putting out a record right now, we're in production for Peanut Butter Magic is ridiculous.
Right.
Because that's gonna take away focus from what we're doing here. And we're at a stage with what we're doing to where this needs my attention so we can get it to where we need it to be. Putting out a record is gonna divert my attention elsewhere. Now, that's not to say that I won't make music. I've been working on a song for the last 5 or 6 days while working on this. That's how I know that it's difficult to do them both at the same time. However, But if we didn't have Peanut Butter Magic and I didn't have any other projects on the table, you know, I'd be calling you boss and be like, all right, man, I'm getting back in the studio.
Right,
You know what I'm
right.
saying? We need something. So I'm gonna get back in the studio and make something happen and whatnot. So I've always had to adapt to the environment and the circumstances of what's going on. So it may not necessarily be quitting. A lot of times it's just kind of transition. You transition out of this. Remember when we had the conversation and I was like, you know, you've always been behind the scenes for me. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people, you know, they've heard me talk about Brandon, Boss 10, this, that, and the third for years and years and years and years and years, but they never knew who you were. And then they'll meet you, they be like, he's white.
I mean, the name Brandon didn't give it away.
But I'll call you Boss 10. Like my homie Boss 10, he shoots the this, that, and the third, this, that. So you got the rap name, you know what I'm saying? You shooting the rap videos, and then they meet you and they were like, he's white? Word? You never said he was white. I never thought I had to, but
Right.
yeah. So, you know, but this gave you an opportunity to get out into the front of it, to where people can see you and get acquainted with the guy that I've been talking about for the past decade and a half and stuff like that. This is a transition, a change for you.
Oh, very much so.
You know what I mean? How much different is it being in front of the lens as opposed to looking through it?
It's not as bad yet, I guess. Because we have these conversations weekly, sometimes numerous times throughout the week. So the only difference is that there's a camera on us. The weird part, though, was putting it in the editor. That was the strange part. I'm never the one that I'm editing.
Right.
Like when I was in college, there was a couple times that I had to step in front of the camera and and do something, and that was fine. But I've gone 10 years with never being the person in my editor.
Right.
I'm like dragging videos in. I'm like, oh, there's me. I need to skip past this. Oh wait, there I am again. Wait a minute.
I can see that. That's funny though.
Yeah, that's the truth. So we'll see.
Yeah.
I don't know. But you're right. It's definitely part of that change because we're all, kind of going through this pandemic right now. The number of podcasts that are out there in the world have doubled, if not tripled.
Oh yeah.
Within the last year, we're all looking for something creative that we can do.
Right.
And when we talked about doing a podcast, I knew that I was going to have to step out from behind the camera and stand in front of it. So it's been a change. I'm not used to combing my hair.
Right. You know what I mean?
Is my beard shaved? I don't know.
That's why I'm wearing a hat now. I know I need a good old fresh cut. I'm being cheap right now. So,
Me too.
At least yours one tone.
Well, that's just because the camera's not that good. The grays are starting to come in, man. They are. I'm starting to find them in different places, and I'm like, oh, what the? My hair is getting a lot longer than normal too, so I'm seeing hair now. It's usually really short, so by the time I could even see the grays there, it's already been cut off. But now it's getting kind of long, and I'm like, what?
Yeah. I got a little bit, right? Not anything too crazy, but it's starting to come through. That's them. I got kids' gray hair.
I got the magical genes, man. You're gonna look 30 for the rest of your life.
That's what they say.
I got that professor gray hair. All I need is one of them pipes.
Right?
Good day, sir.
Jergens lotion is my secret. Jergens.
Jerkins. All right.
It's an Eminem line. Jerkin with the Jergens.
Jerkins lotion. Give it a try.
Yeah.
But getting back to change though, just my roles have switched too. Like when I was in my 20s, my teens, my 20s, my 30s, I was all about being on stage or being, that guy, being like, I was the performer, the Sammy Davis Jr. and that whole thing. Now I'm in my 40s, and I kind of approach the game a little differently. Now it's not so much about me being an artist so much anymore per se. Like I said, if I need to cut a record, I will. If I feel it's necessary, I'll cut the record. But now it's more so on how can I, what kind of legacy can I leave? You know what I mean? And how can I get this thing to keep going even when I'm not here, type of deal. So you move into different roles. I'm playing the role of boss, I guess, or the head guy, and looking at it from that perspective. What kind of projects can come out to where I don't have to always necessarily be the talent or the focal point. But things can still keep moving, even though I'm not the driving force for it.
Right.
And I guess that just comes with age and experience and trying to find ways to stay relevant even as you age. Right. And do that whole business. Doesn't mean I'm quitting.
The coach.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. The general manager type. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And not that I don't love making records, because I'm in the studio every single day. But it's like, what else can I bring to the table besides, always having to be the talent?
Right.
You know what I mean? So, so change can definitely be good. But the quitting, I'll never quit. I never quit. I never really learned another skill. And I think I did that on purpose, so I wouldn't have a reason to quit.
Right.
You know what I mean? There's nothing to fall back on. So I gotta figure out a way to make this work.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's what I always said when people were like, what are you gonna do for a career? What do you want to do when you get older? And I was like, well, I want to make movies.
Right.
And they're like, well, what else do you want to do? I don't have a backup
plan. Right. You know what I'm saying? There is no plan B. There is none. I mean, I can cook a good meal every now and again, but I don't plate like Gordon Ramsay. Right. But, so I better make this work one way or another.
Suelo's Cafe.
Absolutely. I just won't be cooking.
Well, another thing that inspired me to want to talk about change tonight is like what introduced me to you guys was through the group Evolution.
Right.
Shout out to Sway that remastered that first album. Just came out today.
Out today.
Right.
Out today. Yes.
Similar to Mike, you've got one of many, right? So Sway, one of the 5 that's out performing on stage. Mm-hmm. And as everybody gets older, they start having kids, right? And the glam and the light just doesn't look like it's as wonderful as you hope that it would be. And so you just kind of go, and then you quit and go get a job. Mm-hmm. But then you got like Mike and Sway that just go, you know what, I'm not finished yet. You just keep going. Well, recently, one of the other members of the Evolution group has been recording.
Yeah.
And when Sway sent me the first song, Mr. Luke Jones, I was like, hey man, that's dope. I like this. Way to go. And then over the last couple of weeks, you guys have sent me like 6 or 7 songs. He's almost finished with this album. We're talking about music videos and promotions now.
Right.
This guy built his own studio in his room, just like you guys did. Mm-hmm. That's change.
Yep. That's big change.
That's a big change.
Yeah.
He's recording his own music now instead of just writing some lyrics to a beat he found on the internet and then going to somebody else and going, here, do all this for me. Yeah. He's sitting at home masterminding his own music.
Yeah.
That's change.
Yeah. And I tell you, I with all due respect, I love Luke Jones, but he was the last one I thought would invest.
Yeah, for real.
You know what I mean?
Bro, arguably one of the most talented guys in the group.
Right.
Last one you would expect to build a studio in his crib.
Yep. Right. Yep. So that's definitely change versus quitting.
Yeah.
And a lot of the guys that we started with ain't rocking with. You know what I mean? They don't even rock. They don't. I ran into one of the guys and, he started making excuses as to why he hadn't made any records. I'm like, B, I'm not here to scold you. I'm trying to shop for food. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, hey, Sway, man, I ain't been in the studio. Like, it's cool. It's cool, man. You know, it happens. But yeah, you know, change. You know what I'm saying? Quitting.
Right.
But I'm sure if we decided to do something, I'm sure that he'd come back and rock with us. But I don't expect him to
Take
pull
the
a Luke
initiative.
Jones. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I don't.
Yeah. It's unfortunate too, man. There's so many people that I've known over the years that some of the most talented people I've ever met, and they do something and it's great. Several filmmakers, actors. There's a guy, I re-edited a film that we did together when I moved here, and just did. Now that I'm getting better at editing, I wasn't happy with the release, so I redid it and then re-uploaded it to the internet. And I hit him up about a month ago and said, "Hey, man, did you get a chance to look at that video?" And he's like, "Oh no, I haven't even looked at it." Which is fine, that's cool. But I was like,
Right.
"Well, what you been busy? What you been getting into?" And he's like, "Oh man, I kind of gave up acting. I'm not really doing none of that anymore. Like, it's cool that you put that out, but I'm not really interested." And this is one of the most talented actors I've ever met in my life. Like, I remember listening to an interview with Leonardo DiCaprio and Jonah Hill, I think, and they were talking about a movie that they did, Wolf on Wall Street, that they did.
Love
together.
that movie.
Oh yeah, phenomenal
movie.
performances.
Yeah.
And how a light would need to be moved or whatever, and they would just completely break character and just talk about whatever they're doing, whatever their hobbies are, whatever they're going to do later. It didn't matter, whatever their conversation was. And then the director would step in. "All right, we're ready," and go through all the roll sound, roll camera, blah, 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 action. And they would just drop everything and bam, right back into character. And you wouldn't even know that they were just giggling about some joke that they told earlier. This was one of those kind of guys, man.
Wow.
Like,
wow.
He blew my mind. Like, I
Yeah.
never had to correct him. Sometimes we'd have to, get back on the right path. But he brought it, his A game, every time. And just to hear that the offers that he hoped would be on the table weren't there, so he just put up his hands and walked away. It broke my heart, man. It blew my mind.
Yeah.
Sometimes it won't come to the very end. You can't give up.
It ain't gonna come. You got to go get it.
That's right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
You got to go get it. It's not gonna come.
I think the funniest thing I ever heard when somebody came to me and told me they was retiring. Like, from what? Retire? What? You know what I'm saying?
What kind of benefit package you
Right.
looking at?
I'm not even.
His 401k is crazy.
I'm not even gonna say. I'm gonna always do music because I just can't do it no more. But I would never tell somebody, you know what, man? I'm retiring.
This motherfucker Frank Sinatra and shit. Like, yeah, he did it his way. Like, start spreading the news.
Right.
I couldn't believe it. I'm like, retiring from what?
Some people barely get their feet wet. They just go, I'm out.
And
if you don't like it, you don't like it. But if you love it, I just can't imagine walking away.
And then there's some out there that do that. They might do one great thing and that's it.
That's what I was about to say. Some people quit from fear of success.
Yeah.
It ain't always fear of failure. Sometimes it can be like you can get you a nice little local hit record and it becomes a hit.
Yep.
And that scares the shit out of your ass. You know, that people are responding to you in a positive way. Like that in droves. That can be very frightening as well. And you're like, nah, I don't think I really want that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I've seen that happen far too many times too.
And I see that a lot too. I see, when I work with different people and stuff like that, I see somebody, I've seen one or two artists that does something really good, and then you can't get them to do nothing else after that. And it's like, what?
Yep.
And it's you can't not get them to do anything after that.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Do you think they just got a taste of it and decided, you know what, this just ain't for me?
It could be part of that.
Yeah.
And another part of it could probably be.
I think it was Swayze. It scares the shit out of.
Yeah, it can be fear, or it can be, well, you know, they at least wanted me.
Yeah.
I was wanted, you know. So if it, let's say, by them not going any farther, the furthest that they did, it was like they were able to look over that mountaintop for just a brief moment.
Yeah.
And that satisfied their appetite. So now they're full and they go and take a nap and do that whole business. You know what I mean?
They got a taste and then said, all right, that's it.
Yep. Well, at least I got that far type shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
How far did you get? I at least saw Clive Davis or whatever the case may be. You know what I mean? You know.
And so every now and then it could be ego too.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, where, you know, if you working with somebody and you and you probably know what I'm talking about, Phil. Like when you working with somebody, an artist, and it's just that magic there, you feeling them, you know what I'm saying? And because you feeling them, it comes out in the music and it comes out in the whole overall work. You see what I'm saying? And
I do, yeah.
You produce something great, but then they feel like, okay, I'm a superstar now. This shit sound good. Now they think they go somewhere else and create that same magic, and it doesn't happen like that.
That's happened to me. Let me tell you.
And then it's like they give up after that because they know they can't come back after they done that.
Yep.
They assume that if they're a one-hit wonder.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But sometimes you just got to hit that reset button.
Yeah.
And be like, okay, I'm back at the bottom, even though you've been to the top.
Right.
Now, I approach every project like I ain't never did this before.
Right.
And that's the mindset I take on. It's like, you know, I'm starting, this is guerrilla marketing at its finest. Everything. Everything. I don't ever want to get comfortable to a place to be like, I don't have to do that.
Right.
I don't have to do that. You know what I mean? I'm above that. No.
Right.
No. I approach it all the same way.
I've never understood the fear of success attitude. Like, I understand if you wanted to be an actor and so you showed up for an audition and you killed it and you got cast, and then you struggled to memorize the lines, and then maybe you felt like the production was kind of off because of your lack of performance. I'm just giving an example here. And then you just go, you know what? This ain't for me. Like, I tried it and I had a good time, but I don't feel like this is something I could do indefinitely. I understand why somebody would walk away. But if you showed up and you did a good job and the film was great and people watched it and they talked about it and they shared it and they were like, oh man, look at, Steve over here. Like he killed it. Why would you be afraid of that?
I think it goes deeper. I think it goes deeper into that person and that person's personality. Because there's a lot of people out there that just want to be seen. You know what I'm saying? That just want to have street cred. That's all they want. They just want just that little bit, just to be known in their area. But when stuff is really good and the possibility of going further, they didn't want that. They didn't want that in the beginning.
Or that a lot of what Mike said is very accurate. And I also want to add to that, that they may not have expected it.
Right.
Either. You know what I mean? So when it hits so hard. Like, let's take our band, for example, Brandon. And even though we did everything right coming out of the gate, I didn't expect it to take off the way that it did. I didn't. I knew that they were good. I knew that. But the way it exploded, no. And I don't think anybody was really ready for that level of doing things. You know, like that album spun into so many different ways to where, shoot, man, when it really did hit, and you're dealing with a bunch of children too, on top of that. So it's like the emotions are all over the place. You know what I mean? So that being afraid of success is like, how do I handle the pressures of doing something good? On that level. Be very frightening. Like you say for instance, you take your short film to Universal Pictures, okay? They like, Brandon, we love it. We're gonna give you a budget of $10 million to produce your next film. You've never had $10 million before. It can be very scary to have that kind of money in your possession, and knowing the amount of responsibility that comes along with having that amount of money. Now you have a real obligation to pull off something very, very spectacular.
See,
that's enough.
That excites me.
Yeah, right. Me too.
I'm getting excited just hearing it. We're making this up.
Right. You know what I'm saying? So,
now.
so do I. I'm like, bring it on. But everybody doesn't think the same way that you and I do. You cut a check for someone else, that's sweating bullets. Right. Oh my God, I really got to pull this off now. What the fuck am I gonna do? Holy shit. And next thing you know, they dead in the bathroom floor from a bullet wound. You know what I'm saying?
Or like, overdose.
Right, or some dumb shit. You know what I mean? Like, that's a lot of pressure.
I sometimes will get nervous. Like, when, just to give you an example, so during the pandemic, stuck at home, can't go to work. So like half of America, I ran to Lowe's and bought a bunch of shit and remodeled my basement. Yeah. Hey man, Lowe's was packed during the pandemic. Let me tell you, the governor of Kentucky was like, stay at home, wear a mask, wash your hands if you have to go anywhere, but stay at home. Yeah. And everyone was like, yeah, okay. And then a bunch of people were like, no, I'm going to Lowe's. There was lines. They couldn't get people to come into work. And there'd be one register open, and there would just be lines wrapped around the building of everybody with a 2x4 in their hand.
Right.
I was wearing Home Depot out.
Oh yeah, man.
Now I got a pond in my backyard.
Right.
Oh my God.
With a waterfall.
And it looks great. Let me tell you, like, it looks like some Shangri-La type shit. I ain't even gonna bullshit you. It looks good. Mike did a really phenomenal job on that motherfucker.
It's peaceful, man.
I want to see a picture of it, man.
Yeah, send him a picture. It looks fantastic.
Well, I got to send him a new one because I done a whole lot more.
Yeah.
I got like elephant ears and everything all around it. I redid my waterfall, my filter and my waterfall.
Yep. Yeah, wow. It looks great. It does. I know Mike is talented in that way, but if I didn't know he was talented in that way, I'd have never thought he built it. Let's put it that way.
Okay. Yeah.
It's good.
From the country, man.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. Yeah, he did a good job.
But so to give you an example of just being nervous, it's been a long time since I've built a set. Mm-hmm. And when we were working on the Student of the Game album, we got everything done. In the basement, I got everything set up. We got half of the basement is like, family stuff. And then this half of the basement is my office studio on the other side of the wall. Yeah. Never shot in there before. And we came up with a concept for that music video. And so we built like a little one-person classroom, essentially, for this video. And I made some props. We got everything set up. My dad made me a desk when I was a kid. And when I would come home and do homework, I had my own little personal like child desk. And he was cleaning out his storage a couple years ago, and I didn't want to throw it away. So it's just in my garage now. So I was like, I've got this tiny classroom. I could have a tiny desk. Like this is going to be hysterical. And so we put this whole video together, and Sway called me and was like, all right, man, we're on the way. And I was like, cool. And I was nervous as shit for like 3 hours because I've got the studio set up. I've got the classroom set up. I've got fake walls in there. I've got props. We've got costumes. I've got the lights set up. Everything is ready to go. I spent a couple weeks getting this set up. and now it's really about to happen. And it was like, this could be awesome or this could be terrible.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what was going to happen. There was no, I didn't have any time to prep shoot. I had no test scenes. I just took the experience of my past and made it happen today.
Right.
And
We
we got
pulled it
the
off.
footage. Oh, man, we got the footage done.
Yeah.
And I put it together and sent it to him. And he said, this is probably my favorite music video that you've ever made.
Wow.
Woo!
Yep. Yeah, I mean, it was, we pulled it off. We did. I'd have never, and when we showed up, I'd have never known that you had that kind of pressure on yourself. You didn't even, you never let us see you sweat.
Can't in that,
You
man.
know?
We're ready to roll, man. I gotta focus. We gotta get this done.
Absolutely.
You know, like, honey, be quiet for a couple hours. Like,
Right.
You know,
But
So
I
it-
get nervous every time I take on someone else's project because they're paying me.
Yeah.
So therefore, you want to deliver a quality product, because if you don't, you know motherfuckers gonna talk shit about you.
Yeah.
You know it off the rip. That's automatic. So I'm always afraid when I take money from a client, am I gonna be able to pull off the job, you know,
Right.
to a satisfactory level, to where they'll want to come back, or at least won't say anything negative about the level of work that I give them.
Right.
It's always nerve-wracking. The pressure's on. When they don't pay you, you can give them whatever the fuck you want and be like, well, motherfucker, you ain't paying me, so fuck you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? But when they do pay you, now you're obligated to put up
Right.
with the bullshit. You know what I mean? So that can be scary.
have you ever worked with somebody when you were that you were just like, I wish you would quit?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
It's time to
Absolutely.
throw in the bag, man. I'm
Absolutely.
sorry.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
That's a lot.
Yes. Yes.
Look, you sitting there like,
when I start, here's a rule to all the artists, the future artists that's coming to see me. If I'm engineering or producing your session, and I start with the phrase, "All right, what's next?" You know I've checked out completely.
right.
When I start saying that, "All right, what's next?" Is that it? We got more? All right. I'm checked out.
Or I say, man, my kids gotta go bed early.
Blame it on the kids. My wife don't like you, really.
Because you know how we do. If we into something, we gonna be up all night.
Yep. That's what I'm saying.
My
That's
wife
what
will be
I'm saying.
bitching the next day.
Hell yeah.
That music was loud.
Right.
But if I ain't feeling it, I gotta,
Yeah.
But I've had some that they might not be the best, but you see the potential in them though.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You see, you like, but I see the potential. They always hardworking.
Yeah.
They always come with they'll have the best stuff, man. It's like, but then you go to the person that got the talent, they ain't got shit.
Yep.
And the person that, like I said, you see the potential in some that might not be like this person right here, but I'll take them all day long because they always have some. And you kind of probably kind of got an idea of a few I'm talking about that just got that, they just got that factor, you know what I'm saying, that some of the ones that are talented don't even have.
You're right.
Right.
I agree.
It's crazy.
I had a guy that hired me once to come out and run audio for his script.
Mhm.
And that's all I did. I just held the microphone.
Right.
And so I showed up, did what I was supposed to do. We were like halfway through the day, and I leaned over to the guy running the camera, and I was like, hey, what do we got? How much more do we got to do today? And he goes, I don't know. And I was like, you're running the camera. Don't you have like a shot list? Don't you know what we're doing? He goes, I don't read the script. What? I thought you were co-producing with this guy. He's like, yeah, this script sucks. I don't read none of his scripts.
He's just getting paid to point and shoot.
That's right.
That's
That's
crazy.
right. That's right. But it's very similar to like what you're saying when you're like,
Yeah.
all right, what's next?
Yep.
You know, like,
Yep. I have
maybe
checked out.
you're in the wrong job, yo.
Yep.
I'm just
have
here
checked
because you're
out.
paying me.
Now, I would never tell anybody to hang it up. I
Yeah, I would.
nah. See, I'm about encouraging, man.
My son came singing the other day. What you think, Dad? Nah, man, stick to the dog.
Oh, your oldest boy?
Yeah.
Oh, word?
Nah. Sing it. Nah. Now he can produce. He can make.
Yeah,
music,
nah, he cold with it. Yeah,
And he can
cold
draw and all that.
Yeah.
Stick to that.
with it. Yeah,
Singing, nah.
yeah.
That's a negative.
Now, I've known some guys that weren't great singers that turned out to be decent singers.
Yeah, they.
I got
too.
like a few that when we started, they was like, and now they're like, you know what I mean? Just kept working at it. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, as far as that's concerned. So it's all hope ain't lost for your boy. Let me tell you. He just got to practice probably a little harder than the average dude. Yeah. And do
I'm
that.
kind of like you though, man. I don't ever try to discourage. Like
Nah.
even when I don't like something, when someone's like, "Hey man, what do you think about this?" I just hate being like, "Man, you're trash." Like
Yeah,
I don't even want to say that. I
Y'all
try to
mean.
find a way to walk around it.
Me
'Cause,
too.
like, I
Y'all
don't-
mean.
I want to be honest. And I
Right,
don't want to be
right.
like, oh, that's phenomenal, you
Right.
know, what I hate it. But at the same time, I don't want
Be
them,
like,
you know,
You got
not that
nice shoulders. Be like,
I know this is a song, but I can tell, man, your shoulders top notch, bro. You held that mic great.
that's me.
Yeah.
That's how I do.
But I know that my opinion when answering that question isn't going to make or break somebody, but
right.
I want to encourage people to keep
Absolutely.
on because I may even suck today, but we all
But-
start at the bottom is what
Let
I'm
me ask you
getting
this:
at,
how
know?
y'all gonna feel when that person is in their 50s and they still struggling and they getting laughed at and picked on, all because they went by what you see?
Well, in that scenario, I would argue that it's up to them to figure out
That's what I
by
was
their
about to
50s.
say. Yeah. It
You
didn't
know.
own me no more.
No.
That long.
I never gave up because Sway said not to give
Nah.
up.
You can't
He
pin
said
that
I
on me.
sounded good.
Nah.
You know, we were 18, dude. Come on now.
We were
Come on.
18 and you owned the studio, man.
right.
Come on.
You know what I mean? At some point, you're going to have to get it for yourself. Like,
Right.
seriously.
See, Bill Gates came to me and I was like, nah, man, give it up. And he went to computers and now look at him.
See, I just don't want to be the guy responsible for that guy that robbed a bank because the motherfucker said that he sucked. I don't want to be that guy. You know what I mean? Like, I was rapping at first, but Sway punk ass said that I wasn't shit. So I turned to bank robbing and shit. Nah.
Sometimes,
Hey, man, if they got a solid plan, let them know. I'll be the getaway driver.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Right. But no, I don't want to be that guy. I don't. So that's why I always, even if I'm honest with you, I always find something positive about what you got going on. You know what I mean?
but it still can
Yeah.
happen the same way. They could, he said I sound good, and next thing you know, he's becoming what he think he is. Now he robbing him.
I'm not, I won't lie to you. I'm not gonna
Yeah,
lie
right.
to you. I'm not gonna lie to you. My producer, my mentor, he had a saying. He used to say, the truth is free. If you want me to lie to you, you got to pay me for that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You got to pay me to lie to you. But the
Right.
truth, I give you the truth for nothing. You know, so that's me. But just because I'm being honest with you, don't mean I gotta be cruel at the
Right.
same time. You know what I mean? I don't have to do that. Because I feel like everybody should live out their dream, no matter what it is. Even if you suck, if you want it bad enough, you'll find a way to pull it off.
Right.
You will.
And I also think that performance art is all about confidence. I think confidence is the key,
Yeah.
because like with an actor, if you're on set you got to perform in front of 50 people. You know, there's so many people in the room staring at you,
Right.
and you've got to stay in character, especially if you're presenting a character that doesn't represent you. And so you've got to have that confidence.
Right.
And like as a director, whenever I'm working with a talent, and if they just suck, like they did not bring their A game today, I never, after cut, go up and have that coaches talk on the pitching mound. I never go up there and go, "Hey man, you're terrible."
Right.
You know, I got to go up there and boost their confidence level, because I can see it in your eyes that you're skipping words, you're not paying attention, you're not focused. Everybody's got all their eyes on you, and you know you're screwing up. So you gotta be positive to keep that confidence up. And I feel like singers, I would assume, are in a similar situation, because you show up, you're singing, everybody's listening to you, you're probably not hitting the notes, but that doesn't mean you can't.
Right.
And maybe you're just singing the wrong genre. Maybe you're trying to rock that country song, but you've got a rock and roll voice, or maybe you should just stick to hip hop or whatever it is that you're into. So I try to stay positive. I don't want people to quit. That's never the mode.
No, I'm never gonna encourage someone to quit. Never.
Yeah. I mean, me neither. I wouldn't do that. I find myself trying to like school them on stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, tell them, because a lot of them is just laziness. You know what I'm saying? They'll write a rap that night and then try to rap it. It's like, come on. If you would have wrote this about a week ago and memorized it, it would have came out a whole lot better, sound a whole lot better, So I try to talk them into it. Sometimes, so much.
I blame Lil Wayne and Jay-Z for that. Because they like to promote that they don't write lyrics down. And so every kid that listens to them goes, "Hey, I probably don't have to write my lyrics down." And then they just show up and say some garbage.
You are absolutely right. Correct, 100%.
Like Wayne performed on Late Night with Jimmy Fallon. This is a couple years ago. And I think Carter 4 or 5, whatever his last one was about to drop. And he had a song that was playing on the radio. So he came to promote it. And he, in the interview, said that the Roots had to listen to the song and write his lyrics down for him because he doesn't memorize lyrics. He's like, I just recorded it that day and it's on the album. I've never performed it. I don't know the lyrics. So they had to give him his own lyrics so he could memorize it and then go up there on stage and perform it. Man, just say that you write them down.
Hold on. They had to write his lyrics down for him.
He said that they had to listen to his song and write the lyrics down for him so that he could read it and memorize it so he could perform it that night.
That's insane.
That is.
Yeah.
I'm not writing nobody's. It's your music. You should be writing your own stuff down. Why should I?
But because I'm just saying, because of stories like that, I feel like we get these kids that they just feel like that's how you do hip hop.
And you do. You do get those kids like that. You really do. And it's sad when I have to work with acts like that. Yeah. It is, where their head is so big to where they can't even fit it through the door. It's bad, man. It's bad. You was talking about people with have you ever worked with people that just can't cut it? I work with people to where I just be like, you know what, just don't come back.
Right.
You know what I mean? Just don't bring your ass back around here ever again. And I don't care if you're talented or not. You know, like you just be like, no. I'm over that.
Sometimes you can catch it before they even walk through the door. You already know how it's gonna be.
Yep.
And it's like, nah, man, why did I agree to this?
Yep.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
So some money you can let go.
Yeah.
So what if you were in a situation where somebody came to record in your studio and they brought the biggest check you've ever had, and they're the most and they're the worst talent you've ever had?
Oh my God. That is a dilemma.
At what point do you say,
Gonna know
all
how
right,
big
what's
the
next?
check is. It's gonna have
at the end of the album. On that last record, like you a motherfucker, you know that, right?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But that's tough. I've had that happen. I have.
Yeah.
Where you're in the middle of recording someone's full-length LP, and you're like, I don't want to do this shit no more. Nothing about, and you're only like 7 songs in, and you got like 13 that they want to do. By that 7th song, you're like, I am so over all of this shit. But you've already taken the first half of the deposit.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you're like, damn.
So that's a segue into the last topic that I had for you guys tonight. And that is that sometimes we have to do things that we don't want to do.
Yeah.
You know, and
Yeah.
and I think that dilemma is what causes some people to quit or to change, because they run into that wall and they go, you know what, I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
And they walk away. And if you just get through it and take away from it, and when you tackle that next big project, I feel like it'll be easier for you. You have new challenges, but that doesn't mean you have to stop, right?
Right. I agree with that 100%.
Yeah.
I do. It's about the transition.
Yeah.
Right.
It's about the transition. How do you go from one thing to the next? Remember, Mike, you and I, we talk about like when we're making beats. You know, a lot of times, you ask the question sometimes, how do you go from this point to that point? And I say it's all in the transition. It's all in how you pivot from the verse to the B section, or from the verse to the bridge, or from the verse to the hook. It's all in how you switch it at that moment. That will glue it all together.
Right.
You know, same with what we do. It's all in the way we pivot.
Right.
You know, from one action to the next. You know.
It's like at the end of the day, it only affects you.
Yeah.
So you know, no matter if you quit, don't quit, move on, don't move on, it's how you feel at the end of the day with whatever. I mean, that's what matters the most. I think, you know, 'cause I can stop doing something, start doing something else, and as long as I feel good with myself, I know I'm gonna, you know, regardless, I'm gonna keep it moving regardless.
Yeah.
But it's just how you feel about it. And, you know, some people can't take it, some people can.
You know, like with this podcast, like none of us had ever done this before.
Nope.
And when we first started talking about it, we all was like, we don't really know how this works. I ain't never did it. I don't know how it worked. You don't know how it worked. None of us knew how it worked. But it didn't deter us from giving it a shot. You know what I mean?
Trying there.
Yep. You know, we didn't turn away from it just because we had no experience in it. We just figured it out, and we did it as a unit. We did it together and just kind of figured it all out. Make that happen. Nobody quit, and it wasn't easy in the beginning. We had a lot of hurdles that we had to get over, but nobody gave up. Nobody quit. We worked through it. You know.
I kind of relate it like we're making an album together that's never going to end.
Right. You know what I'm saying? This is the new evolution.
That's right.
Oh, don't say that.
It's about that time, man. That's all I'm saying.
Right. 3.0.
Right. And we'll do it 4 more times. And
Right.
we'll remix it once or twice and go to a couple of different studios. But I've always heard that artists like that are in groups or not in groups, and they've just made singles or they've just been features or whatever, and then they go into the album mode. That just sounds like it's the most stressful thing ever, because you have to complete, 10 or whatever. I don't know what defines an album from an EP or a mixtape or whatever, but it just sounds like it's so stressful. And I've seen artists that get 1 or 2 songs in and they get into their heads, man, and then they just walk away. And that album never gets done. And so that's like this podcast thing. That's why I relate it to an album, because all of these podcasts are like songs, and
Yeah.
we're writing them together, and we're figuring it out together, and we don't really have we have an overall idea of what we want it to be, but we don't know what it's going to become. And you know, like you said, even though we've had those hurdles, I mean, we're knocking it out the park.
Yeah.
Like it's working.
I love it. I love it. And I agree with you. Like this is like an album process. I know what album mode feels like. I do. I've been there at least 6 or 7 times. Like when I'm recording an album, I tell my kids, all right, I'll see y'all in 9 months. You know what I mean? Even though we in the same crib,
Right.
I'll disappear on their ass. Like, you know, in 9 months, I'll be a good dad again. But right now, I'm cutting a record. So, you know what I'm saying? Just be patient with me.
Don't sign up for any sports cereals in the
Right, you
cupboard.
know what I'm saying? Right. But this is very similar to going into album mode. The amount of work I put into what we're doing just up until this point, man, has been a tremendous amount. Even within the last couple of weeks, just trying to fine tune what we have, because I feel like we're on to something. So that's been, like we talked about inspiration a few weeks ago. That's been inspiring for me to just want to, this is like, you know, one of the things that I'm driven to do these days is to get this shit to be the best that we can make it and just work hard at it and whatnot. And again, don't mean that I'm not cutting any records. Change.
Right.
Change.
Adapt.
Mm-hmm.
Grow.
Yep.
Have fun.
Yep.
Rule
You know?
number 1.
Absolutely.
Rule number
Absolutely.
1. So you guys got any closing words for us tonight on quitting or changing?
Be mentally prepared. Be mentally prepared for whatever comes next. Whether you quit, whether you stay, you always got to be mentally prepared and be able to deal with the consequences.
Well, I'm no quitter. You know what I mean? I'm just not. I'm not a quitter. I may adapt to what's going on around me, but that doesn't mean that I'm going to quit. Change happens whether we want it to or not. You know what I mean?
Right.
The older we get, we change. Things that bothered me in my 20s that didn't bother me in my 30s, damn sure ain't making a difference in my 40s. You know what I mean? The way I approach the game when I got started is different than the way I approach it now. You know, I'm never gonna quit. Like I said, I'll do this. This will be one of my tools till the casket drops. You know what I mean? But it may not be in the way that people are used to seeing me. You know, I may go from singer to politician to activist to, you know, to game show host. Who the fuck knows? Who knows? You know, change doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing, but I'll never quit. I'll never quit.
I hope that's what people take away listening to this episode. That I've always heard, like growing up, my parents were always like, you can do whatever you want, you know, follow your dreams, don't ever give up, blah, 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 blah. And you become an adult and you're like, I just don't know. Where do they get that from? This is crazy. And every time I accomplish something, I'm like, thanks, Mom. Thanks, Dad.
Right.
You're right. You know, it's hard. That's the hardest part too, man. It's really hard. It's hard keeping up responsibilities of adulthood. And I don't have any kids, but I got my own struggles and hurdles that I got to get through. And what makes it all worth it is being able to come down here, shut the door, and get to work. You know what I mean? And no matter what outlet that is, whether it's a podcast or film or whatever, you know, maybe I'll just write. I don't know, but that's what I look forward to every day. And I'm glad that I have you guys to continue to do this with, you know. So
Same here, man. Same here. Same here. We've had a great run, boss. You know what I mean? You know, it's just been wonderful. You know? and I look forward to what we all have in store next.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
All right, y'all. Thanks for tuning in. Check you out next time.
Yeah.
It's the